Millions watched L.A. Capone's rise unfold in real time, long before he was old enough to vote. At just 17 years old, L.A. Capone was one of the fastest rising names in Chicago drill. Many believed he was destined to become a star. His music captured the realities of Chicago's South Side, and that raw authenticity quickly turned him into a rising star. But L.A. Capone wasn't gaining attention for music alone. In Chicago's streets, his name carried weight long before the rest of the world knew who he was. To understand why his loss hit so hard, you first have to understand both the talent that made him famous and the reputation he built in the streets long before the world knew his name. Leonard Anderson was born on the 18th of September 1996 in Chicago, Illinois. At a young age, he experienced tragedy after losing his father. After spending part of his childhood in Atlanta, he returned to Chicago before the name Lil Assassin was beginning to ring through the South Side streets. As L.A. entered his teenage years, Chicago's South Side was becoming increasingly violent. School wasn't just a place to learn, it was often a battleground. Neighborhood tensions were escalating. Rivalries were intensifying, and many young people found themselves caught in conflicts much larger than themselves. L.A. attended Dunbar High School, where many students came from neighborhoods that were rivals to his own. Because of his affiliations, he frequently found himself targeted according to people who knew him, knew that fights became a regular part of his life. What made L.A. different was that he wasn't known for backing down. Despite often finding himself outnumbered and sometimes losing his fights, he earned a reputation as someone willing to stand his ground no matter what. The support L.A. received didn't initially come from his own Block 600. It came from several well-known members from OBlock, including King Von and T. Roy, were known to look out for him and defend him during conflicts. Allegations and rumors within Chicago street lore say that King Von and L.A. were involved in a shooting at or near Dunbar High School as retaliation related to ongoing conflicts L.A. had with several members from STL and Jarrow City. These claims remain unverified and are largely based on street accounts and speculation rather than confirmed public evidence. To truly understand L.A. Capone's story, we first have to understand the history of the neighborhood he came from. The story begins in Brick City, where 600 emerged as the younger crowd from the same area. Created in 2009 by two Chicago street icons, Lil Boo and D-Thang, they were said to personally handpick the young members they believed could represent 600 to the fullest, showing them everything they needed to know to survive the streets. While 600's main block was 60th and King Drive, members were often seen throughout the neighborhood, especially around 59th and Prairie Avenue, as well as 59th and 60th of Calumet. Beyond Lil Boo and D-Thang, 600 was also home to names such as D-Rose, Rondo No. 9, E-Die, C-Die, Tay Capone, Memo 600, Lil Steve, and Mikado. Before 600 was formed, the older generation claimed Brick City, a name earned from the brick alleyways running through 59th and Prairie. 600 was closely tied to OBlock, Front Street, Lamron, and other BD sets across the city, while LA maintained personal ties with members from 400 East, Squirttown, and OBN. Although LA was surrounded by allies, some of his biggest battles came from the rival sets just blocks away. And that's where this story takes a darker turn. While not 600's main beef, STL EBT, a GD set from 63rd and St. Lawrence to 64th and Eberhart, remained a notable rival. However, just 2 blocks away stood Jarrow City, a set of both BDs and GDs operating around 62nd, and Eberhard, the set shared a long and bloody feud with 600. But these next 2 rivals were arguably 600's most dangerous enemies, with conflict that claimed multiple lives over the years. Arguably 600's biggest rivals were MOB, a GD set located just blocks away, operating from 59th and Wabash down to 56th and Michigan. And lastly, 051 Young Money, a mainly Mickey Cobra set. Though they weren't initially beefing with 600, rising tensions in the early 2010s eventually made them one of 600's main rivals. What many don't realize is that 600 and their rivals often knew each other personally. Some were former friends, and others even had relatives on opposite sides. This was especially true with Jarrow City, where the close proximity of the two neighborhoods meant many members had relatives on opposite sides. But with LA choosing to be a BD, he was forced to distance himself from some of his old friends, many of whom ended up on rival sides. But during his rise in Chicago's drill scene, LA was quickly becoming one of the city's biggest young stars, racking up millions of views and building a fan base far beyond the South Side. But while LA was becoming a drill star, the streets remained active. As his views climbed into the millions, he was also watching close friends die around him. On June 22, 2012, L.A. Capone and C-Die of 600 were linked by authorities to a homicide investigation, adding to the growing attention surrounding their names. According to reports, L.A. Capone and C-Die were later linked to the killing of Fats from 051 Young Money, an incident many saw as part of the growing cycle of retaliation between 600 and 051. But every rivalry came at a cost. While 600 was known for the enemies they made, they were also forced to watch many of their closest friends lose their lives. LA witnessed the deaths of several close friends, including Baldy, D-Thang, Lil Steve, Shaq, and Trick's losses that would leave a lasting impact on him and the rest of 600. And with close friends in OBlock, Front Street, and Lamron, the losses LA witnessed stretched far beyond just 600. According to street accounts, LA's name was later linked to another alleged incident involving members from OBlock. Many believed it was tied to the death of White. White was a respected figure closely tied to OBlock and King Von. Tragically, he lost his life on August 9, 2012, King Von's birthday, a day that would leave a lasting mark on many who knew him. In the aftermath, rumors spread quickly throughout the neighborhood. According to street accounts, many pointed the finger toward Jarrow City, with the name 50 Shots frequently surfacing in connection to the killing. Just 2 months later, on October 30th, 2012, OBlock and 600 were allegedly linked to a retaliatory incident involving Jarrow City. According to street accounts, L.A. Capone's name was later linked to an incident involving members from OBlock and 600. It is alleged that L.A. Capone, Manny, King Von, J Money, and Big A rode into Jarrow City territory looking for rivals. Reports and rumors from the streets claim they encountered a Jarrow City member known as P5. Unlike some others involved in the conflict, P5 was often described by people who knew him as someone more focused on making money than participating in violence. The attacks shocked both sides, and street accounts describe it as especially brutal. Following incidents like these, L.A. Capone allegedly found himself with an even larger target on his back and was forced to move more cautiously. Around this same period, he reportedly survived a shooting of his own, narrowly escaping death. What makes L.A.'s story so unique is that while all of this turmoil was unfolding around him, his music career was taking off. Millions of people were watching his videos online, and his popularity continued to grow. Years later, many fans would look back and realize how closely his music reflected the reality he was living. Sadly, L.A. Capone's story would come to an end on September 26, 2013. Earlier that day, L.A. Capone, J.B. Bin Laden, and Ocho from OBlock reportedly attended court over a trespassing case. After spending several hours dealing with the case, the group later headed to a recording studio on Stony Island, where L.A. continued working on music. One of the songs associated with that session was Brothers. According to court records and reports surrounding the case, rival gang members learned of L.A.'s location. Prosecutors later alleged that members connected to 051 Young Money traveled to the area after receiving information that L.A. was at the studio. As L.A. exited the studio, gunfire erupted. He was struck multiple times before the attackers fled from the scene. Lil Mick Rockhead and Miko from 051 were later convicted for their roles in the murder. Witnesses reportedly stated that L.A. remained conscious for a period after the shooting. He was transported to the hospital, but despite efforts to save him, he later passed away from his injuries. He was only 17 years old. With his death, Chicago lost one of the most promising young artists of the drill era. more than a decade later, fans still wonder how far L.A. Capone could have gone had he been given more time. But one thing is certain, the streets don't love anybody. L.A. Capone's death only intensified the conflicts that had already consumed so many young lives across Chicago. Comment down below which Chicago street legend you'd like me to cover next. And if you enjoyed this episode of the Rise and Fall series, make sure to leave a like and follow for more stories from Chicago's history. This has been ChitownStories. I'll see you in the next one.